our horn is there. So what I'm gonna do is pull the wire off and see if we're getting voltage to it. It's very difficult to reach into here with the headlight in the way, but probably never been off. There we go. So we have a horn that doesn't sound too good. Shouldn't have continuity. It's showing like a diode. Let's try going to our ohms. Hello, ohm. Open. Open. Hook this guy on there. Like that. Hook our battery up, and if I touch this, it should beep. Nothing. So our horn itself is bad. This 4Runner, the horn doesn't work from the inside. And I don't know if that's because the horn's bad or because it's not hooked up. I have no idea. So we'll see if it even has one. Right here. So we can do the same thing, see if this one works. Alright, let's see if this one works. It sure does. Okay. Even when I'm the one doing it, I hate that. So we'll just steal this one if we can. It looks like a slightly different shape, but it should work. There we go. Sounds like garbage, but but it works. And that's the key off. Might try tightening it a little more. I don't know if it's maybe a little loose. It sounds ill, like it's like there's something really wrong with it. Oh, it's buzzing on this thing. Let me see if I can spin it up a little bit so that it doesn't do that. There we go, that's better. Alright, we'll do one more. Hopefully it's good, and then we can stop honking at everybody. Perfect. Turn the headlights on, and then the other one did not return. I think it might be stuck on something. Ah. Yeah, that screw's too long. I was wondering about that. I need a shorter screw for that. So let's remove the screw. Perfect. So something else I want to do while I'm... Yeah, that works. Something else I want to do, since I got this headlight out, now is a good time. I have no idea if I'm ever going to find the correct things for this. And I don't know, I might need to extend these. Although there's slack, I think I can just... There we go. Plenty of room now. So I have these terminals that just plug into the pins on here. It's not going to be waterproof, but it should work for a while. Maybe not forever, but at least for a little while. Another thing we're going to need to do before our inspection is the driver's front wheel only has 3 lugs, which I'm sure is a safety violation. And I do have some lugs laying around that I can, or studs, lug studs, whatever you want to call it. I have some, so there's no reason I can't do it. I just forgot that I had them when I was messing with that. And we also need to do a bolt check on all that stuff. I need to actually take that front end kind of back apart and do like re-grease those bearings and get everything torqued down to the proper spec, get the cotter pins on it. Yeah, that's not like the way you're supposed to do it, but that worked way better than trying to use that stupid tool. So we have one side. That just burned that bulb out. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm not sure if I'll be using these until, might have to wait until I have the title to use them. I'm not sure yet. But got all those lights working. Everything but the stoplights. I noticed the switch is not, I don't know if you can see that at all, but the switch isn't doing what it's supposed to do, springing out. And that's probably from the evaporest. That stuff leaves a sticky coating if you don't rinse it, and I probably forgot to rinse it. So the blue one isn't really doing anything. The white one that is now yellow has continuity with the button in. So I'm gonna say this is probably your cruise, and when you aren't using your brake, there's continuity, and when you interrupt it, it shuts the cruise off. And then this one works the opposite, but it's not working. So it already doesn't work, so we may as well dig into it, see if we can't figure it out without stabbing ourselves in the hand. Might just be corroded. Could even be from the submerging in evaporest, although I doubt it. Second time I poked myself. So I've pulled these pins back and I can feel a spring. Yep. Some contacts. And I think this one actually doesn't have, okay, so that's that part. So I think what we need to do then is just clean everything the best we can. Give it a little scrub through. I'm gonna just place this here, see if I can use these to make my life a little easier. See if I can get this to do what it should before we put it back together. And then the other thing we can do while this is out is just manually jump the well, it's a little fussy. Worked for a second. These contacts cleaned as well as I'd hoped. Anyway, the other thing we can do real quick is jumper, the pins on the car side of the wiring, and then the brake lights should come on if the only issue is the switch. Alright, this little piece of welding wire I think is a little too thin to stay in, but it's should be kind of spring loaded once I fish it in there. And if I can, it's really hard to do because I can't see very well, but it did spark like it's functioning. Yeah. Well, should have. Well, still don't have a brake. Strange. Did I just not get it right? Don't know why it would spark like that if it wasn't charging the light. Getting warm, so it is drawing current. Ah, there we go. I just didn't have it on there very well. Okay, so that does confirm that our issue is the switch itself, and the contacts are either not good at all or not enough to handle the current. So I've got some sandpaper. I'm gonna try to clean everything up better than I did before. Still kind of wrapping my head around what goes on in here and how. Yeah, you're just gonna have to look at me, I guess. Me and my man boobs. So, this plunger comes in but see, I seem to have some other connection issue going on. So these guys are attached to this plug, which is our brake lights, and when you push down on that springed thing, it breaks the connection between them. And if you were to, I don't know if I can actually do this, but if you were to use like this, for example, to bridge that, that's all it's doing, is just bridging those two pieces. So I seem to just be having issues with the contacts, and I've done my best to clean them, but it might be issues somewhere else too, like where the wire gets to the contact. That might be part of our issue. It seems more consistent now. Not consistent enough, especially for brake lights. So, you know, obviously it's a safety thing that you want those working. The other thing I'm wondering about, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything about, is I don't know if the contact from this piece, the rivet, to this piece, if there's corrosion in there that I can't get to. That could be causing some problems too. Which there's ways we can fix that if it is a problem. I guess maybe the simplest way to look, take our probes and only hit the top contacts and see if it's just as shaky. No, it's pretty good. I think we're okay. That in there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and assume it's good. Get it all back together. That's what we wanted. When I pulled the trans out and put it back in, I have not yet hooked the reverse lights back up. Huh, that was really easy with the light. Side markers and our fronts are all doing what they should. So the exterior is good to go for lighting, other than the bodywork problem. Okay, I've decided that if they break, they break. I just need to get them out so I can get them unseized, and I'll deal with the broken bolt issue as we go. One came out okay. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Okay. Yep. 2 out of 3 on each. Okay. So now that we got the motor out, we can test and see if the motor itself is working or not. Hoping it is, of course. Alright. The motor itself is not spinning. Is it frozen? I don't know. Let's take that out. I think I'm gonna try checking it in the vise. Seeing if we can manually spin it. Well, maybe I need to get both spots there. No, that probably just broke it. I don't know. Feels like I maybe just broke the gears. It's a little tough. But, oh, broke. Right. Well. It's crusty. Just from a guess, it feels like I probably broke the gear in there. But not sure. I don't know what it looks like in there. It just feels like a gear that's no longer working right. In fact, I don't know if you can see that, but it is technically working, like it's rotating this housing. It's obviously struggling because I kind of busted those teeth in there off the plastic. But I'm wondering if we might be able to kind of repair it. And the little cap actually kind of holds it in place. So we might be able to make something work. Okay, so same test as before. We're going to test the casing, the housing to the wires, which, if I recall, none of them should be going to ground. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are supposed to go to ground and I got my wires mixed up here. I happen to have my service manual within reach. Unrelated to our short circuit, I think, because we still have a short, but this piece, the magnet, is supposed to be glued into place, and I just gave it a tap and realized that one of them was moving into new places. So the glue has stopped adhering. Not sure what kind of glue you would use, maybe like epoxy, but I don't think I have any epoxy. Ironically, it's something I should probably get. I broke those bolts on the wiper linkage mounts, and I wonder if that stuff was working the whole time. Let's go find out. So if it's just the motor, maybe I'll just go ahead and find a replacement motor instead of trying to fix that one, because I don't know what I'm doing, for one, and for two, it might be a while before I figure any of it out. Well, it's tight, but yeah, this still needs to come out. Don't actually know how easily they're supposed to spin, but I'm sure it's easier than what's going on so far. That should be enough for the motor to do its job. What about this one? Where are we at here? So one thing I've learned now is if I'm going to mess with a wiper motor in the future, start by taking the little cylindrical cover off. Do that first before I do anything else. Test for short circuits, probably before I even do the other thing. And yeah, this one's pretty tight at the moment. And don't spin it by that side. Looking at the way the gearing is, it's not meant to go. It's meant for this to spin that and not the other way around, so that's why I broke all those plastic gears. I'm kind of curious. I don't know if it'll work, but I might be able to if I put this in here, I might be able to just use some like locking pliers to get what's left of this stud out. Hey, I got it. That feels pretty good though. I mean, this motor should have no problem with that, I think. Okay. Got that guy on there. It's also nice and hot. The weld broke. Not a good start. Well, we might have to drill it. I'm hoping that that would work. I'll let it cool. Seems better this time. Is that gonna work? I doubt it. Highly doubt it. But we have nothing left to lose by trying. Nothing to lose by trying. Oh man. Can't tell. Nope. For a second I thought that was working. I'm just breaking the housing. It is coming out, but at the cost of the housing apparently. Alright, well, technically we did get it out, but we also broke the housing in the process, which I guess this shouldn't be that surprising, but oh well. This still takes a screw. We gotta find the same type of screw. Okay, I don't know if this is going to work at all. I don't think I have anything that's really what you should use to glue a magnet, a strong magnet, but I used gasket shellac. I just put a little on both sides, gave it a minute, and now I put it in, and I'm going to let it sit like that. But we're going to try it. Maybe we fixed it. Seems kind of crazy, but maybe it works enough. Getting cold because it was nicer out when I started as usual, and my mistake. So I should have grabbed a ratchet instead of a ratchet wrench, but also, that's the other magnet. That's not even the one I just glued. So, definitely have some more work to do. Okay, not sure if this will really work, but what I'm attempting to do here is I've shellacked both magnets in, heated them up a little, cooled them, and now hot gluing kind of the edges of the magnet. I got some of that gunk out of there, and I don't know, we'll try it and see if it works. Maybe more. Oh, actually I think this is a new piece of something that I didn't. I think we need some compressed air for this. Resistance of this winding, so we might actually be okay after all. So let's give it a shot. Wish I could keep this in place a little better. Maybe if I go fast. So with these in, I did find a different screw to try. hook a battery on and see if we fixed anything. It's all a waste of time. Hey. I mean, pretty sweet. Let's try the other one. But I'm impressed. That was somehow effective. I don't know if it's going to be effective for long. I don't know if it's strong enough to actually work the wiper blades. I don't know if it's going to break soon, but that's slow speed. Well, say what you will. I thought that was a pretty neat experience, even if it was kind of ridiculous. We managed to kind of break this thing and still somehow fix it. So, sweet. I don't know if this linkage fell off or... No, it should be working. Well, that's unfortunate. So we have no idea why that's not working. Maybe... I'm sure that little plastic piece I broke isn't helping, but maybe we can convince it. It's like not even... Alright. Yeah, so our issue is that little plastic piece I broke like an idiot. Alright, I got it back apart, and what I want to try to do is figure out how to get this gear out, and try to repair the crack and get it back into one piece so that it fits tight on the center shaft. Fairly simple. So you've got your worm gear that's attached to the electrical motor itself. And you got this shaft which goes out to the wiper arm, or the wiper linkage. And you got this gear with 3 little tabs, the contact, and this tab, this washer, grounds on the body. All the little gears and things I see people making with this stuff. I don't know what the context is, so I have no idea if this is actually strong enough to run a wiper motor. That should fit in here without binding. That part I'm not worried about. The overall bent nature of the thing is a little concerning, but I don't know if it's going to matter. Well, we just about had it. I was tightening this back on, and I put this in the vise and was using the wrench, and I broke the gear again. So, yeah. So since we broke it again, before we even tested it, I put it on, not on the car, but I plugged it in and turned the wipers on and off just to reset it, and it was definitely wobbling, so wasn't off to a good start there. But I figured it doesn't really matter if it wobbles as long as it works. Reality is I don't know if it would have been strong enough. I don't know if that repair was strong enough to actually do the job it needs to do. Does that count? Did one rotation and then broke again. Technically I got it to work. Basically I need to start over, re-disassemble everything, re-repair everything all over again. So do I want to do that? I don't know. I'll probably go to all the trouble, finally get it redone, and then, oh, this is flash rusting. Guess I never protected it, did I? Probably go to all the trouble of fixing that, and then the day I get it finally kind of working, someone will go, here's one for free. Clean that off. It's gonna have to do. I'm not gonna do any more. Then we're gonna use this, probably catch on fire. Yep. That's fine. Now that that's hot, let's see if this stuff does its job. If it actually works, the red stuff should turn black, I think. If it doesn't work, we'll grind it off. What do you think of the new car, Kitty? What do you think? Nope, don't like it. Alright, I've been out of town for a week. I've been in Montana, but I am now back. And so we're gonna see how well this thing starts up after sitting for a week. And might mess with this today since it's nice out. And also got my new windshields, and they are the correct ones. Battery's struggling. Could be worse. I never did hook up the choke for this, and also it's possible that the fuel has evaporated out over the week. Still got a lot in there though. Curious if I hook up 12 volts, if the choke will set. I haven't tested it at all. I don't love this air cleaner style. At all. So I'm just gonna hook up a jumper to the choke. I don't know much about these chokes, but I am seeing a little spark there, so I think it is working. Running for like 5 minutes. It looks like the choke plates are straight up. So probably tomorrow I'll hook this up before I cold start and check that. And then also we want to check that when it's not hooked up, like I just unplugged it, if it sits long enough, does it start closing again? I'm not sure. Kind of our usual dirty water and kind of rich, kind of blue smoke. I know we're getting a lot of blow-by. If you pull the PCV, it gets louder and spews out of there. Same with the oil cap. So just from sitting here talking, this is the spring is returning because it's not powered anymore. It just, right before I clicked, it just moved down a step. I was going to try to capture it. Oh, there it goes. So we are going to need to rig up a choke setup, and I'm sure some wire in here will help us do that. To do the rust repair on this windshield frame, I'm going to have to basically take all this kind of stuff back out. Harder to get out now that I have those seals in. And it's so brittle, I don't want to damage it. Okay, I got that off, but it was a pain. I cracked my other A-pillar in the middle, not all the way, but obnoxious how brittle this stuff is. I think that's enough for us to start cutting this out. Tried to get this clip out and it just broke. I don't remember how I got them out on the other car, but I managed to do it. This car, not having as much luck with this kind of stuff. Yeah, so far the most effective process is just dragging this fresh razor blade across the seal. It's the only thing that's not damaging things and is actually cutting through the stuff pretty well. Kind of hard to do from inside too, but to somewhere track down where my freshest razor blades are, but it seems to be the best approach, at least for the top and sides. We'll see how it goes when we get to the bottom section. I did do this on the other car, but it was a few years ago. I don't remember what I did. There we go. Doesn't generally go all the way through the first pass, but after 2 or 3 passes, maybe more, then you get all the way through. Let's see if I can cheat goes over. But we're almost there, so I don't really want to take the fender off. Putting more cracks in the windshield, which the only reason I don't care about is because it's already bad. But yeah, you can see they're still attached here, and this is why if you were trying to save the windshield, this would not necessarily be effective, and definitely worth paying a professional. But since it's already bad, I trust him. I don't trust that one. This one seems to be okay, but yeah, I think I'm not even gonna mess with this one. So you can see we still gotta get this corner. And I'm gonna clean all this up the best I can now that I can get to it. So with my remaining 2%, got some rust here, but it's not through, it's just pitting. We got some rust here that is gonna be a little bit through that needs to be repaired. Same here. This is definitely our worst spot. I can stick my whole finger through there, and this lip is in 2 pieces. Can't see anything because of the sun, sorry, but while I'm taking a break from all the windshield stuff, these have had plenty of time to dry. I still need to figure out how to get this pulled into there, but yeah, this is how the seats are now that they've dried out. Those could use more cleaning, but overall, not bad considering how they looked at first. These headlight buckets are chalky and don't match whatever's going on the rest of the car. Looking pretty good so far. I don't ever really mess with paint stuff, so I don't even know what I'm doing. Probably doing it all wrong. So I put this one, where I used the machine polisher on this one, and then just took my rag and kind of wiped off the residue. And it shined up really well, a little too well almost. I mean, it does match like this stuff on the car, doesn't really match what's going on in this area. So it's kind of ugly, it's a little extreme, but you can kind of see the point there. And then from there, I can mark it just along the roof itself to figure out how much of it I actually need to use. So I'm gonna say like something like that. And we will say something like that. And something like that. The other day I was vacuuming the car and I vacuumed up the little ball from the ignition switch and saw it right as it happened, and just now, like a week later, I just dug it out of my vacuum. So I found that little ball and I can put it back in. So this is roughly our template. I'm gonna cut this edge extra big because I can always trim it off after the fact. Now, I don't remember which side is which. I don't know if it matters. Still can't tell. Still don't know if it matters. The other thing is, this has a curve, but it's a fairly gentle curve and we're doing a fairly small patch. So, I'm thinking we might be able to get away with, like, that's close enough to where I think we're fine. And I also think if we cut on the outside of our line here, we're going to be just fine, and there's no need to leave it long. And if I'm wrong, we'll just make another one. You can see that kind of curves this way, and that does not. So this is our top piece that has that line there. And obviously we're still a little big, and that's totally fine. So the other thing we want to mess with is marking where we want to cut this chunk out. Then we're going to cut the chunk out. I'm going to try to cut below this fold. And it's a little rusty here, but I'm going to try to weld below it as well and try to avoid getting up in here if I can. So that gives us kind of two flaps that we can pull out. And what it also does is it helps us have this piece be separate so we can move it up like this and then cut that way a little easier, hopefully. Those free, I might need to change to a newer wheel, but we should be able to go straight down. Get those out. that's these sections. And then another thing we might be able to do, if this is thick enough, we might be able to take a file and just straighten that out and then weld on that line. And then that way we're not messing with up here, which would really help a lot. Now we just have these two pieces to get rid of, and if we use our pliers to kind of grab a hold of them, if we can get it up right to there, we might be able to just take our grinder, that same grinder, and just cut this way, or a hacksaw or whatever, and then that way we're able to cut this corner out without messing with these inner and upper pieces that we don't want to mess with. A real restoration, you would need to deal with all of this rest. Like, you would have to separate these two panels and do a lot of stuff that we're not going to do. I'll just leave it at that. We're not going to do that. The car will probably keep rusting over time, but it was this or the crusher, so, you know, it's okay. If you're filming your stuff, I don't recommend letting any sparks or welding stuff go near the camera. It will melt the glass. But if you haven't noticed, I'm pretty reckless with my gear. So, got that out. We got what's left of a little weld there, and we're gonna clean this up the best we can and maybe take a file and sander and whatnot. But then after that, now that that piece is cut, I think we'll start with a file, and then from there, if this piece is too big, we will probably pick one of the two as our lead and make the other one match it. You can see from a width standpoint it already fits, and it's only the height that needs to change. And then which one has our curve? Now that so this is the top because it's got that slight curve to it, so it needs to go like that, and now that's actually a bit tight in there. And then we will need to trim this down, but before I do that, I want to treat all of this, clean it up the best I can, and then we're also going to, these have little spot welds, so we'll put a couple little holes in here to weld to this piece, as well as a butt weld along that. also give that a spritz with the converter. Give it a very quick torching just to warm it up enough. Just to get that to dry off a little better. We'll give that a couple minutes, and while we're doing that, we'll go grab a file. So what we're trying to do with the file, there's two things we want to accomplish. One, we just want to straighten it as much as we can, but also, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, any of these areas that ended up kind of pinching and getting a little thin, those are going to burn quicker, so we want to flatten them so we have more of a square edge instead of coming to a point. Hopefully that makes sense. This side especially, I got a cut kind of in with that grinding wheel, so we might have some burning issues with that, but it'll be alright. I'm going to use this flatter one to try to level out this the best I can. Inner pockets I can't get to with that. With the flat disc, I will use probably this guy. Okay, I've got this little strip of sandpaper, and I'm gonna figure out how to wedge it into something. Maybe the needle nose. I don't know if those are small enough actually. Maybe I'll do these flat jaw pliers. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I'm not gonna worry about it too much more than that. It's probably gonna be fine. So now I'm pretty happy with that. What I sprayed on here, I don't know how much it's going to help, and really it probably needs to come back off for welding. But at least maybe it'll help get whatever stuff the wire wheel couldn't reach. So now that we've got this a little more prepped, you can see this sits in there just fine, and the angle looks to be about right. We'll need to trim it still, and to do that I think we'll try to sneak a scribe into here and scratch along this edge, and then similarly we can come from the bottom and use a scribe to scratch that piece too, but I want to wait until we get this top side done so we can get it back exactly where it's going to sit, because it might be fine the way it is. So I took this guy and reached in from the little hole that the rear view mirror sits through, and you'll notice this has a little up spot there and another one there, and on here we've got that. So this is actually a very accurate scribe, should be. So we're gonna carefully trim that. There's a couple areas where we're just above the scribe where it does the little bend. That's fine, we can fine tune those in a second, but let's see how close we got it. And similarly, it'll need to be straightened out probably a little. but I think we're... Yeah, it's not perfect. I was actually considering trying to TIG this, but I don't think I'm gonna get it good enough to TIG it, and I'm not good at TIG, so that's multiple things working against us there. So we will probably not do that, but I don't know, maybe. Lord knows I need to practice TIG, so maybe I should, but at the very least, we can MIG it and we can access it to grind it down, so I'm not worried about any of that. So just eyeballing it here, I think we're actually a little tall in this corner and almost right, but a little tall kind of everywhere. Alright, I took this and just worked it down a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with it now. The gaps aren't perfect or anything, but what I'm focused on is if I get this corner lined up, does it fit under or does it hang over? And right now it's mating up pretty well. So this thing's just a hole punch. It also does flanges, but for this purpose it's just a hole punch. So we're gonna do, let's do 3, why not? That was a little much. I was waiting for something that I should have known wasn't going to happen. A lot of times when I'm heating parts, you'll see the moisture evaporate off, but that part probably didn't have any moisture on it compared to what I'm used to. That probably would have been the right amount for the other part. Alright, it's not perfect, but it's going to be close enough. I'm going to get my clamp it in place. The only thing I didn't think about is my welder's totally not going to reach, which means I'm going to have to use my flux core welder, which technically works, but is really not the right tool for this job. So I'm probably going to have to try to get my car as close as I can, because this is too buried to get out there. Can't get a good ground, I think. Not a good start. Told you I was bad at this. So I finally got enough of a ground to actually connect there, but now my current is too much and I'm just burning it. Okay, well so far it looks like I gas welded it, and I mean that in a bad way. I totally forgot I'm supposed to sharpen my tungsten. That tells you how often I've done this and how long it's been. But anyway, yeah, I now remember that I'm supposed to do that. Okay, I am only making things worse for myself trying to do TIG. I guess that's what I get for thinking I could try to remember how to do it without even doing a brush up. Anyway, point being, I don't know if I'm using the wrong tungsten. Probably. I think the last thing I was actually doing was aluminum. I did set it to DC, but doesn't matter. It looks like garbage. It's acting like garbage. I will be, in fact, better off with my flux core welder. These are the realities of not being a pro at anything. So this is working better, I guess. But one of the reasons I was trying to avoid flux core is because it splatters everywhere, for one. So it's leaving sparks down here, and I don't really have anything I can protect with. The other thing is I don't really have a good setting for the thin metal that I'm using, so it's going to very easily burn through, especially on the butt welds. So I don't even know if this is going to work. I'm going to work on this for now. but when I get to the butt welds, I might have to figure something else out. Maybe wait until I can move the car and move the cart around. I don't know. So I adjusted the settings really ridiculous. The voltage all the way down, the speed like halfway up, totally off of anything it would ever tell you to do. And that's helping. I did grind these down. I'm gonna attempt the spot I already messed up, see if I can even get this. Alright, sorry. I couldn't film the welding because it'll mess up the camera. I've already pitted the glass on the watching side. I missed at least one spot there. So what I ended up doing, like I said, I turned the voltage all the way down to the bottom and the speed like halfway up, which is a wild setting, but I basically did little, I don't know what to call them, like almost pulsing, like and then the spots where it wanted to burn through a little from that rust, I did a few more of those and then hit it a little heavier, and I'm sure it's ugly from the inside, but it's at least something that we can grind down. Any of you real welders, feel free to tear me a new one, but also any of you guys, I think I have 035 wire in there, and it's flux core, and we're welding 22 gauge that's a little pitted, so what do you expect? Losing our light here, but I used the little belt sander thing to get these down a bit. That corner, well, both corners need more work. I might need a carbide bit to get into there. This needs more work as well. It's close, and I can't tell, and you really can't tell, if there's a hole there. I might need to shine a light to see. Surprisingly though, on the back side, what I can feel with my fingers actually feels better than the front side. That would be the low voltage and high speed. We probably weren't penetrating a super amount, but that's actually what I want because the stuff is so thin that any better, yeah, we can see a little bit of light through at least one or two spots there. So we got a little more to go, but anyway, that very light penetration is about all you can get away with on something this thin. You can feel it back there. It's just not as built up as it was on the front side, but probably just right on the back side. So we'll go with that. All right, for what it's worth, here's kind of where we're at. It's hard to show, but stuck my flashlight in and kind of got whatever was left, and honestly it's looking pretty good. This top spot isn't perfect, which is unfortunate because it's also like the actual important body line, but I don't know how well we're going to be able to replicate this curve with what we're doing right now. So in the future, if we're ever trying to really paint the thing, we'll probably have to go in and put a little filler there, or I don't know, something, get someone better than me fix it. But this seam is looking real good. This we can do a little more work to, but this I'm actually quite happy with now. And most importantly, it should be watertight and give the windshield something to stick to. For these other pieces, after that experience, I have no idea if filling this is even remotely possible, but we might try just for the heck of it. Same with those other pieces. Okay, not even really sure how I managed to do this, but I basically slowly and painstakingly, boogerily filled this rust hole. It was very challenging because the rust kept burning away and just making bigger holes. And I may have to reference the other side, but I think this is pretty much the shape it should be. There's a little bit of kind of waviness here from where there is and isn't new weld going on, but ultimately it's not too bad. I'll show you this booger thing I've got going on here. Looks like I have a little more to do on the far side, but I put the piece behind one of these guys, and I basically started filling up and spreading out, and it's boogery right now, but that gives me enough to file down until it matches this. And I think I might need a little more, but I think I got it to kind of get enough to where I can remake this curve as well. We'll see. So we're not done. I don't know if it'll show, but it's still sticking out a little bit. It's not too bad, but the problem is it's dark. It's 9 o'clock and I need to stop making noise and clean up, so this is gonna have to wait till tomorrow, but I think I at least have a good sense of how I'm gonna get the last one. Yeah, I wish it was like 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, because then I would have time to do the last one and be done with this, but it's close enough. Alright, I couldn't resist. I won't be able to grind it tonight because it's too loud, but I got some ugly booger welds filling that guy up, and that's the last, well, unless I need touch-ups, that should be the last of the welding for the windshield frame. So I may have missed a spot there. I think I need a little more there, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Wanted to show you, best I can at least, there's some dripping here from, well, I think from trying to dig, but there's some drippy stuff I gotta grind down, and I'll probably trim this piece back a little, but that's our, it's also a little bit that could use a fill, but that's our penetration for the bottom plate. That's the little extra piece I put in. This is the back side, if I can show it. This is the back side of the piece I made. And then there's, doesn't really fit. There's that piece. I also kept starting little fires. I think that was probably one of them. There and there, just from splatter coming down. So I would just keep an eye out, and if I saw a little flame, I'd put it out. This carpet's pretty trashy, so I'm not all that worried about it. Alright, it's the next day. It's sunny out. These are more or less done. I gotta grind this one down. Then I can basically be done with this, and I need to order some stuff to get the windshield installed. Alright, well, I think I'm happy with that. There is some kind of rest between these two, but getting that would be a whole other level of project I'm not looking for this car to be. So we're not going to worry about that. We might take a pick and kind of clean it out and maybe put something in there to help it. And I might, this is still a little bulging out a little bit, but the rest of it's looking good enough. I'll probably hit that just a little more, and then I might try to clean that up, and then I'm gonna call this done. I don't know if that's the right stuff to use, but that's what I'm using. Use self-etching primer, and then when that cures for a few minutes, I'm going to use some ceramic engine enamel because it withstands heat, so hopefully it'll withstand all the sunshine that it's going to get. And it should be a low gloss black. I don't have anything even remotely close to the proper maroon that it would have been, so I'm not worried about that. But I also don't want to use some really shiny black that won't match anything else on the car. It's almost gaudy compared to the rest of the car, but it's subtle enough, I think. I'll just let it cook out here in the sun and cure. The vents are really obvious now, which is kind of funny. Maybe I should have just painted them. The VIN's already black, so it kind of looks the same. In general, I know the goo for the windshield kind of goes along this seam, but I'm not exactly sure where, so hopefully I taped that off good enough in the right spot. Once the windshield's in, the goo will spread, and then you have the cover that goes over it, so aesthetically I don't care, it should be good enough, but what I didn't want is only having this paint be what's gluing the windshield in. And then, yeah, up there I'm not going to paint with this. I'm going to get the primer that needs to go under the urethane